And we love you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. What's up? Welcome back to the Seek Truth podcast with your host, Ashley Paola. So we're just going to get straight into it. We have a guest today, but I think the correct way to start this podcast is sharing how I met you. Because I'm telling you, it's one of those times where it's like, I know it's the Holy Spirit, because I was actually driving here. And I usually go to Clutch or I go to Dutch. Well, now I go to Dutch Bros because it's so bomb. Anyways, but I did not want coffee that morning. I was like driving down Archibald and I was like, yeah, I don't want coffee. Like I really did not want it. And then I just felt that nudge, go to Clutch. I'm like, but I don't want to go to, like, I literally do not want coffee. And it kept bothering me. Well, not Holy Spirit. You weren't bothering me, but it kept like popping up. And it's like, just go. And so I went. Got my coffee, I'm in line, and I hear him and another gentleman talking and like something about podcasts. I was like, dang, I'm about to be that girl right now. And I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to like eavesdrop, but I heard you guys said podcasts. And then, so anyways, so that's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't even drink coffee. I really don't. I was there for a meeting. I don't even drink coffee.
Oh, yeah, you really don't? Because I asked him, I was like, what coffee you want? He's like, I don't really drink coffee like that. I was like, wow, okay, well, we do water. All right, so anyways, so let's get into it. Can you say your name, where you're from, and we'll get deeper into your testimony.
Yeah, so I'm Kevon Lee. I'm from the IE, specifically San Bernardino.
Hey, okay. So you grew up in San Bernardino?
For parts of my life, yeah. For majority of my life, yes. But I moved to Mississippi when I was 9, and I came back out here when I was 16. So 7 years, those formative years, 9 through 16, I was in Mississippi.
Okay, wow. All right, so just right off the bat, he is a motivational speaker. He is an author. He's out there going to the younger generation. So I can't wait to get into all of that. But I want to start from the beginning because I read somewhere. Because it's the first time we're actually getting to know each other and talk, so this is pretty cool. But I was reading a lot of your things, and one of the things, it says that you were 5 when you had your first traumatic event. Because you don't just become a motivational speaker. You don't just become something like that without like a genesis to it. So what happened at 5 years old?
Yeah, so you say 5, but if I'm being honest, I think the first traumatic event definitely happened way before then. Just being neglected by my parents. We could be honest on here, right?
Yeah. Let's run it.
Yeah, being raped by somebody who's was supposed to be close to me, somebody who I was supposed to love. They're supposed to love me and treat me a certain way. But yeah, man. I mean, my parents in San Bernardino. We all hear about San Bernardino. It's really a lot of drugs out there, a lot of homelessness, and so my parents were on the streets. My parents, they lived that life. My dad used to be a gangbanger. My mom and dad been to jail so many times combined, and. And I would definitely say that contributed to who I am today, but why that event happened, right? And so, at 5 years old, I was actually shot. And what's crazy is, and I tell people all this time, when you go through extreme trauma, you either remember everything or you forget everything about that detail, right? Everything that happened. Yeah. I remember everything. I could tell you the color of the house. I could tell you where that house is. At 5 years old, I could tell you the inside of it, like where the rooms are, where the dining room, where the living room, what color the couch was that I got shot on. I could tell you everything about it. And the reason I got shot is because, I rarely ever share this. It depends on the setting. It depends at the speaking engagement. It really just depends, right? I remember my mother saying, "I don't have your money." She slams the door, and that's when she got shot twice. I got shot twice. The other guy got shot twice. To my knowledge, all 3 of us are still alive. My mom is still alive, of course. I don't know if the other guy is still alive. I know he lived that event, but I don't know if he's still alive now.
Was he like in the house with you guys, or he was just kind of on the streets, like part of it? Like whose side was he on?
Oh yeah. So the person who shot us, right? The person.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so the person inside the house, he was my mom's friend.
Okay,
and he got shot twice too.
Okay.
So we all got shot. He used the whole clip on us. Let's just say that, right? And so the reason we got shot is, and I didn't find this out until 2021. So like December 20th, 2021, I was at work, and as an upcoming motivational speaker, in order to speak my truth, I have to know every detail, every single thing. And so I'm researching like 5-year-old get shot, Kevon Lee get shot, 5-year-old get shot in San Bernardino, every single detail, get shot on this street, whatever it was, right? Couldn't find nothing. And I went to this woman's office, and while I was in the woman's office, she said, what are you looking for? I said, look, I'm trying to find a newspaper article of when I got shot. She said, I'm gonna help you find out. I'm like, look, I looked for 48 hours, 2 days. There's nothing out there. She said, you must not know who I am, right?
She said, hold my water.
Literally, right? In 30 minutes, she found the whole court case. The entire court case. So the reason I ended up getting shot is because my mama was a prostitute. So she was a prostitute.
And you didn't know this when you were younger?
No, I didn't know this. So she was a prostitute. The guy promised her $100. The guy instead gave her, it was either 30 or 50. And so my mother stole the $100. And then when he dropped her off, that's where he knew where we stayed at. And so he figured out like, okay, this woman stole my money. I'm coming back for my money. And so that's when he ended up shooting us.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So a word I don't even know what word to use, but I guess client of your mom's is the one that shot her. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow. That's intense.
Yeah, it is intense. It is.
Okay. So then what happens after that? Because you get shot. Your mom is still obviously alive. Do you go back with your mom, or do you what's going on after the hospital?
Oh yeah, of course not. They're not going to put you in a situation like that unless they could, unless your parents could prove that, you know, they're clean. For one, like I said, my mother and father was on drugs. They got good jobs. They're able to stable a child, right? And so I went into the hospital. I stayed there for about 4 to 5 weeks. And right after I got out the hospital, the day before I got out the hospital, this woman came up to me. She said, Kevon, you're going to have a new mom. And I remember kicking and screaming, throwing things. I didn't want a new mom, right? I didn't know what that meant. And you have a child, right? How old is your baby?
He's about to be 2.
Imagine this happening to your baby. You can't imagine it, right? You can't imagine what kind of human being could do that to you. Mind you, if I show you a picture when I was 5, you'd be like, oh my God, she was adorable. He was cute, right?
Yeah. And well, whenever I hear anybody like sexual assault or this and this and that, kids, I just look at kids. I'm like, how?
Exactly.
How can people put their kids or put other kids into situations? Exactly. Like, I can't fathom it, but it comes to brokenness and sin, and we'll get into that. But okay, go ahead.
Exactly. So and then that's when I entered the foster care system. So the next day she picked me up, she took me to my foster mom, and that's when I ended up in the foster care system. And see, one thing I want to say is like the thing about being addicted, right? It doesn't matter what vice you have. It could be drugs, alcohol, pornography. It doesn't matter what vice it is. That thing has such a stronghold on you, and it's hard to break from it, right? Course, and even if you break from it, if you go back to it once, like just once, saying, oh, I'm strong enough, you know, I got this. It ain't gonna do nothing to me. You go back once, oh, it sucks you back in. Of course. And so a lot of things that happened to me is because my mother and father were on drugs, right? Don't get me wrong, they're a lot better now. They're clean. I thank God for that. They've been clean for so long. Matter of fact, they coming down here because my baby is about to be born in a couple of weeks. So they're gonna come down here and we have a way better we have a way better relationship.
Oh, that's good.
But it took time. It took forgiveness. It took understanding the situation that they was in. It took them finally saying that they were sorry to me. It took a lot, right? But yeah, so the reason that they couldn't get me back is because they couldn't get off the drugs. They couldn't, do right. And I remember who is one of my godmothers today, that was my social worker that said you're gonna have a new mom, right? She straight up told me, she said, look, your parents were brutally honest. I'm talking about you shouldn't even tell the social worker this, right? But they did that right. They told her, like, look, I'm sorry, we're still on drugs. We cannot take care of him like we should be. And so that's why I went into the foster care system. And then I got adopted at the age of 9 by my grandmother.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's when you went to Mississippi?
Yeah. So as soon as the adoption was final, we moved to Mississippi.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And so how did this affect the way you saw yourself? Because I'm just thinking... I know how it affected me, just my relationship with my mother and my father, very different, but still painful, right? And that affected me in many different ways. So how did it affect your self-image on how you saw yourself? Because you're thinking here, okay, my parents, gave me away? They didn't want me. What was going through your head?
Oh, man. I would definitely say I never felt that they gave me away. But what I did feel is that, there was a long time when I didn't talk to my dad. There was a long time when I didn't talk to my mother. I'm talking about months on months in, right? I would not speak to them. And I didn't know if they was alive. I didn't know where they was because they were doing their own thing, right? Yeah. So it took them a few years, maybe by the time I got adopted, maybe a few years after that, 3 or 4 years for them to finally say, you know what, forget all this. I need to do better, right? And I never lived with them again. So I never lived with them again. But I would definitely say that it was hard. Like I said, I couldn't forgive them. I used to be so angry. I'm talking about to the point where my mom will call. And I don't know why I was more angry with my mom. I really don't know why. I think it's because she was probably there. My father, he wasn't there. Like, that's a whole nother story. But so, and I was just so angry. She would call me, I'll get mad. She would text me, I'll get mad. I'm not like that anymore. Like, I finally forgave because I realized that is what set you free. Yes. And so, but yeah, the way I saw myself was I saw that, I didn't have any value. I saw that I thought that nobody could love me. Right. I thought that nobody would be there for me. And so it took me years. I'm talking about, I'm 26. I just turned 26. I'm talking about it took me to my 23, 24 to figure that out, to finally forgive.
Yeah. And you mentioned somewhere about a food. Was it addiction or was it lack of you eating? How did that transpire?
Yeah. So I would definitely say when it came to, there was time because living with my grandmother, you would think everything great, amazing, right? Now, don't get me wrong. My grandmother, I thank God for her. I'm talking about before my wife, she was the love of my life. I'm talking about, I love that woman, right? She did whatever it took. She sacrificed so much. But there was times, we didn't have anything to eat. There was times where there was only a minimum things to eat. But the addiction to food, I did get addicted to food.
You see, it was addiction to food.
So it was at one point not having a lot of food and to another point being addicted to food. So eating whenever and stuff like that. And I ended up being 300 pounds before I finally lost the weight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And so do you think a lot of that was trying to fulfill that
for sure.
comfort and just like
definitely
soothing yourself?
Definitely. And the more people bullied me about it, the more people hurt me by it, by my appearance, the more I ate, the bigger I got, because I tried to like hide all that in, and my outlet was eating.
Of course. So you're saying 23, 24 years old is when you finally started to shift? Is that what you're saying?
No, I started to shift. I started losing weight 3 days after high school because I went to the doctor's office, right? And I'm at the doctor's office and they weigh me. And I already knew I was 300 pounds, right? I already knew I was.
I don't even step on the scale. Look, I already know what's up.
I already know what's up, right? And he said, all right, Kevon, we're going to do a blood test. We want you to come back in 3 days, right? So I came back in 3 days. He said, look, you pre-diabetic, you got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, boom, everything through the roof, right? He said, if you stay on this path, you will not live a long, healthy life. And when he said that, mind you, I'm 19 at the time. When he said that, I couldn't see past 29. So when he said you're not going to live a long, healthy life, I could have said 39. I could have said 49. My number was, I'm not going to see 30. And when he said pre-diabetic, everybody in my family was diabetic, losing limbs, losing fingers and stuff like that. I said, nope, not me. And from that day, I started losing the weight. I got down to my smallest was 159. But again, what comes with that is a lot of trauma, one, because of being bullied for how big I was, but not only that, a lot of mental health, to body dysmorphia, to no matter how small I got, it wasn't enough. I'm talking about to the point where I'm wearing extra small as a man. That's how small I was.
And you still felt like you were large.
Yeah, I needed to get smaller. Like even now, I'm about 200 pounds right now. I'm like, man, I'm too.
At the gym though?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm like, I'm too heavy now. I'm trying. A good weight for me is like 185, right? And I finally feel comfortable enough to where, okay, 185 is good enough. I don't feel fat. I don't feel too small. And that's where I'm comfortable with.
Okay. So when do you feel like God came into the picture, or what kind of started to shift your perspective, like spiritually? Or was God always in the picture?
So the thing was, God was always in the picture, but I wasn't. Let's just be honest, right?
Hey, that was a bar.
Like if he took a picture, he's there. I was outside the picture, like I was camera shy, right? Yeah. Because I grew up in church. My grandmother, from the time she adopted me till now, I've always went to church. And we were 7-day Adventists, so every single Saturday. And my grandmother was hardcore. I'm talking about this woman wake up in the morning, pray for 6 hours, read her Bible. She was retired. That's all she had to do. Right. So if she didn't make it to heaven, none of us are saved. I promise you, if she didn't make it, none of us are saved. I'm telling you that now. But yeah, so I was always there. And I remember I was about maybe 16, 17. I can't remember the age. And she said, hey, bring some extra clothes to church. I was like, all right, cool. I thought I was going to play basketball with the boys, right?
About to sweat.
Man, we went to church. I'm getting baptized.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is this, right? Mind you, I'm at church and I knew nothing about the Bible. I'm at church every single week. I'm going to Bible studies. I knew nothing about it. I always slept at church, right? I never knew it. I did take it serious. And then I would say in 2022, 2021 is when, or was it 20? 2021 is when I started getting deeper in my faith. And I remember my wife, who was my girlfriend back then, or she might have been my fiance. I can't remember all these dates. But back then, she was like, hey, I'm getting baptized. Do you want to get baptized with me? I said, sure, why not, right? Got baptized, came out that water, the same person.
Is that...
Nothing changed.
Yeah.
But what was you about to say?
No, go ahead.
Okay. And then, so that was in 2021, 22, I got baptized with her.
Okay.
But last year, and mind you, I was better though. I was reading my word.
Right.
I was doing things. But the first time I got baptized because my grandma said it.
Yeah.
The second time I got baptized because my wife, back then, girlfriend, fiance said, I want to get back. Let's do it. Right. The third time, right, I'm at a conference. And mind you, I go to this conference and it's a speaker's conference, right? I'm about to leave there a better motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Man, after he got done, teaching us, he was like, look, the Holy Spirit is telling me that somebody here need to get baptized.
Was this Jeremy?
Jeremy, yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Jeremy, that's the big homie. But let me tell you, so everybody start going down, right? Oh my gosh, everybody falling to their knees, crying and stuff, praising the Lord. I'm like, I just got baptized last year. I ain't did nothing that bad. I'm good. I just got baptized last year.
Yeah.
He said, okay, there's somebody else out there. I said, bro, you gonna go?
you better go.
You get me? I'm like, you gonna go?
The Holy Spirit.
Man, let me tell you. He gave one more call. He said, there's somebody else out there. And I'm just teetering and tottering. And I don't know what it was, but I know who it was. I felt this presence like no other. I'm talking about a push.
Yeah.
It was literally a push. And next thing I know, I was walking. And it was crazy. And when I tell people that I could not have done that on my own understanding, I could not have done that by myself. But it was the push of God, literally, right? Got up there, got baptized. And ever since then, I see life differently because at that moment, I wasn't doing it for my wife. I wasn't doing it for my grandma.
Come on,
somebody. I'm doing it for me and God alone,
Amen.
Right? And so that's when the paradigm started to shift. But like I said, before then, I was in there. I was I was teeter-tottering, but now I'm full force.
That's amazing.
Like the way I move, before I go into any sermon or before I preach a sermon or before I go into a speaking engagement, before I go talk to some youth, I pray. I want God to be there with me.
That's so beautiful. Because I listened to Jeremy on a different, this is way months ago. He was talking to Tim Ross on the basement. I don't know if you watched that podcast. Amazing podcast. Anyways.
No, I think I know which one you're talking about.
But he was talking about, how he's a coach, motivational speaker, all that thing, right? And he talks about this moment where, was at the top of an apartment complex? It was
the rooftop. Was it the roof? No, it wasn't the rooftop. No, the first year was the rooftop. The second year was it was just a swimming pool area.
Okay, well, nonetheless, he started talking about this. I was like, dang, that's so beautiful. Because we can have both worlds, business, motivation, inspiration, and then having God implemented into that. That's so beautiful. So then
let me tell you something. Jeremy Anderson, right? I met him back in 2016 at a conference, but I tell this a lot, right? The type of man he is, and this is gonna sound a little sus, but listen, I fell in love with the type of man he is. I know, right? But the way that he loved Jesus, the way that he puts his family first, the way that he pours into other people, right? It's admirable. I'm like, I want to be that, right? And it's not that I want to copy him, but I want to be a servant. The kind of character, the integrity, and so forth and other.
His background, I mean, where he came from, he was a party promoter and all the things.
Yeah, party promoter. He said he was slanging the bricks and stuff. It's funny when he talk about it. He was like, man, you think I just got here? Yeah, but no, he's a great speaker. He's one of the best I've ever heard, for sure.
Okay, so, and then you're also with Eric Thomas, right? So you run with him too?
I wouldn't say I run with them. But I've been on stage. I've texted him before. We talked a few times, but it's not, we not really super
but
close.
you're under his leadership, but you've been to some of his conferences.
Yeah, I've been to some of his
conferences, stuff like that. So what sparked the motivational
speaking?
process? Yeah, so you started losing weight, and then you started to get into the motivational path, or what walk me through that.
Yeah, so in 2019, right? July of 2019, even though I knew Jeremy before that, I didn't know what the heck motivational speaking was, right? I don't even think I followed him on Instagram. I just met him at a conference in Virginia Beach. That was all, right? But I knew who he was. My friend, he sends me a YouTube video, and it's a video of Inky Johnson. I'm like, oh, this is dope. And when you're watching YouTube, if you don't click pause or nothing, it goes to the next video, right? Next one was Eric Thomas Beast Mode. I was like, I'm about to run through the wall. I'm like, what is this?
The first time you hear him, you're like, what?
Bro, ever since then, right?
Body.
Man. And then I was like, hold up, time out. They been through this, but your boy got shot. I mean, I'm just saying. I've been through a hard life, and people. And what's funny is I be getting Instagram posts Facebook posts from 10 years ago, me saying something motivational, or I see videos from me in high school. Mind you, 2019, I'm going into my junior year of college. Me in high school, motivating people, right? They be like, Kevon, what's the motivation quote of the day? I'll say something. So I was doing this all along, but I didn't know what it was, right? And so starting that day of July of 2019, I said, you know what? I want to be a motivational speaker. And then that I want went to I am, because I truly believe the two most powerful words in the human language are I am. And what you say after I am, you become. Amen. And so I started saying, I am a motivational speaker. So I'd be like, hello, Ashley. My name is Kevon Lee. I'm a motivational speaker. I said that, right? Hey. Nice to meet you. And then so October 2020, I'm on this call and I said, what's up, y'all? My name is Kevon Lee. I'm a motivational speaker. Mind you, I never spoke on the stage. This is during COVID. I'm there just introducing myself, but that's how I introduce myself. And then this woman on the call, she said, hey, send me an email. And I sent her an email. She said, you're a motivational speaker? I said, absolutely. You dang right.
Yes, I am.
You dang right. I said, yes, I am. She said, look, we got an event January 28th. 2021. It's only
chills.
Man, it's only for 15 minutes. Walk by faith, not by sight, right? It's only 15 minutes. Do you want to take it? I said, absolutely, yes, right? Mind you, when I took it, so that was a whole year, July 2019 to January 2021, a whole year and a half, right? Did not know what I was going to talk about. Did not know what I was going to say. But I knew I had a story. And I knew that if I could get it out there, it could change lives. And so that's where it all started, right there.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. So the I am is so powerful. I heard you talking to kids about this, and it just like completely was like, whoa, because I have a son now. So I'm constantly thinking about his future, and the generation right now is just, it could be a little scary. The influences around, what we grew up to and around and all that. So how did that happen? How did you started targeting kids? How did that door open? So
my first ever speaking engagement was actually to adults, right?
That 15-minute one?
That 15-minute one. Mind you, I don't got no video from it. It was on Zoom, but I know it was bad.
You're like, and thank Lord.
Hey, but I know it wasn't to the point where I am now.
Right.
Night and day, right? But a few people was like, hey, we want you to come speak. Would you do it for this price? Or mine, I was like, a price. I mean, I got paid for the first one, but I didn't know nothing, right? Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll come. And then so that's when I started speaking to youth. And then I just, I kept doing it. I found a mentor named Roy Juarez who helped me develop my keynote to where it is now, to where now I could high key speak about a lot of things, but I have one signature keynote that doesn't matter if I talk to youth, adults, it does not matter where. They say, hey, we want you to tell that story. And then I always add on something extra, but it's like the fundamentals of the story of me getting shot, me being told I would never go to college, me getting bullied, wanting to commit suicide, and God spoke to me. We got to talk about that. And God spoke to me, and then that's when I said, you know what, I'm not going to do it. And then that's when I kept going in life, right? And so, so I speak to kids. Matter of fact, right before here, I actually left. I have a mentoring program. And so I'm in 9 different schools, and I go there and I mentor youth who've been through similar situations like me. So tier 3 students.
So is that like at schools or where
so the mentoring program is at schools. I'm at 9 middle schools throughout Riverside.
Middle school. And that is such an important gap in our life is middle school. I feel like because that's where a lot of the pressures are at. You start to like, okay, you're a girl, and now the boys are liking you, vice versa.
But in middle school, you just want to just but you love them though.
But yeah, of course, because you see them as like, oh, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
But so they're receptive, or a lot of them not, or how do you?
Oh yeah, they're very receptive, right? I mean, you got them few that really don't want to be. Not saying that they're disrespectful, but they're just like, oh, they just told me to come here. But others, like we literally went in today. They were like, oh, we're so happy you here. Aww. We had so much fun last time. When are you guys coming back? So hearing things like that, it's like, okay, this is right. And
then you give them practical things to do as well, or is it a lot of it just like the spiritual aspect, more mental aspect of it?
Yeah. So for instance, right, we have different sessions. So it's a SEL, so social emotional learning. So we talk about values, SMART goals, relationships, emotional maturity, mental health, budget, things like that, right? And then so that's the curriculum part, the curriculum that me and my wife built. So that's that right there. And the second part is just called Go Make It. So my brand is called Go Make a Difference. So it's the Go Make a Difference part, and that's where we just go in. Like today, it was a Go Make a Difference part, and we just answer the questions. We talk to them. We feed love into them, right? Because a lot of these kids they don't see love anywhere else, right? And so when we come in the classroom, they're like, who are these fools? They're very I wouldn't say they're very disruptive. So they talking a lot, but once they see who we are and why we are here, like, oh. That's when they're like, okay. Like, and we always tell them, like, we didn't have this growing up. So we wish we had things like that.
Man,
I'm telling you,
the world would be very different. But that's why it's important to have people like you that are actually out there talking to the youth, and that's really encouraging. What city are you hitting?
So like today was Jurupa Valley. I think it's Jurupa Valley, Temecula, Moreno Valley.
So you're all in the IE.
All Riverside County, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell me about the time where God spoke to you.
Man, so it's crazy because and this is when I was overweight, obese, and I said I used to get bullied. I used to get called fat so many times that when somebody would say the word fat, I'll look, right? And so I said, I'm going to count how many times I get called fat. So put on an outfit, left for school. My grandmother, she said, have an amazing day. She gave me a kiss as soon as I get out of the car. What's up, fat? I'm literally counting. And you can even ask my my cousin, my best friend, like now, he'll literally say, yeah, I remember him counting that day. I was counting, right? So by the end of fifth period, I had got called fat 39 times. I said, you know what? This is not a bad day. Went to football practice, and number skyrocketed all the way to 107. And so I realized that day that I didn't want to live in a world like this, and I dang sure didn't want to go to a school like this. And so when my grandmother picked me up, we got home, she went into her room, I went into the kitchen, because when I thought about committing suicide, I never thought about slicing my wrist, like shooting myself, hanging myself, slicing my throat. I always thought about, and what's crazy, I really always thought about grabbing the biggest knife in the kitchen and stabbing myself in the stomach. Every single time I thought about committing suicide, I never thought about them other things. I always thought about grabbing that biggest knife, a machete type knife, and stabbing myself in the stomach and just ending all my pain. A lot of people don't realize like what bullying does to somebody. And there's people that get bullied for the way they look, for the way they dress. There's people who get bullied for being pretty. Like there's people who get bullied at work. There's so many different forms of bullying. Yeah. And so not only was I getting bullied at school, I was getting bullied at home too. Cause I'll go on social media, I'll see where somebody took a picture of me and say, oh, he looked like a big A lemon, or he looked like a fat cherry, or oh, he looked like a melting ice cream, or things like that, right? And so you can only imagine seeing that year after year after year what that did. And so I took the knife, and as soon as I was about to stab myself, God said, son, don't do this. And it was crazy because I felt like this numbness, and I dropped the knife, and he said, please don't do this. Like, I have something for you. Like, everything you've been through wasn't to break you, right? I didn't want to hear none of that. I grabbed the knife again, and it just as when I was about to stab myself, look, Ashley, just as when I was about to stab myself, my grandmother said, Kevon. And what's so crazy is that whole day, I wanted to hear my name, right? Everybody always called me fat and stuff like that.
Stop.
Listen. And what's crazy about that moment is my grandmother never calls me Kevon. She always called me baby, honey, or sweetie. I could show you some voice messages right now that I saved from her when she passed away, where she only called me baby, honey, or sweetie every single time. But that one time I needed her, right? And I thought it was like, but once I got closer with God, I realized it was him and he said, you have a purpose. And I'm living it out now.
Wow. I mean, I'm just that's crazy. I'm just taking that in because the fact that the Bible says He calls us by our name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, you got me a little turn that out here.
Come on, by our name.
He calls us by our name, and he leaves the 99 for that one. And He made everything line up in that moment for your grandma to say your name.
Dang, you giving me chills, man.
I mean, that's the Holy Spirit just be, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, how did you meet your wife? Because you guys are doing the business together now, like the motivational speaking. And
no,
that?
she doesn't. She's like behind.
Your helper. She's your helper.
Exactly.
Come on now.
She's like the neck and I'm the head, right? So she's behind the scenes.
Yes.
But a lot of
the most important things. Okay, come on now.
Look, let me tell you, she is brilliant.
I believe
without her, I wouldn't have this mentoring program. I wouldn't be able to execute it. She says, okay, I think this would be good. Like, no, Kevon, you shouldn't do that no more. You should do this. So I call her so many things. She literally said today, like, oh my gosh, you call me the COO. You call me the strategic manager. You call me this and that. I'm like, look, cause you everything. At the end of the day, you my boo, you my wife. But anyway, though, so the reason, the way we met is we met in high school.
Really?
Yeah. So we go to the same high school. I mean, I didn't know who she was.
Wait, so she met you
Yeah, she met me when I was 300 pounds. Yeah, she met me when I was 300 pounds.
Come on now. Shout out to her. What's her name?
Sienna.
Okay, Sienna.
Yeah,
Shout out to you for seeing the future him.
Look, I was cute though. I was cute.
Okay.
I had potential.
We'll talk to her.
But listen, so so we was at a track meet and mind you, I'm talking to her twin sister. I didn't even know she had a twin. I didn't even know these people existed,
really?
Right? And then the girl was like, hey, you want to come meet my sister? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I guess so. And so I went and met her sister, and that's who Sienna is, right? Mind you, they fraternal twins, so they don't look alike.
Okay.
And so I met her, and
I was about to say, okay, you saw her and there was love first sight, but how did that happen at the first one?
So look, 2016, this is where Snapchat and stuff. I was like, let me get your snap. You know, I gave her, let me get your snap. So I got her snap, and I forgot all about it.
It became best friend.
I forgot all about it, right? And about 2 weeks later, I remember it was prom, and I'm a junior at the time, so I didn't go to prom. But I was like, dang, they look like they having fun. I wish I would have went. She said, you a little boy. I was like, no, she didn't. She called me a little boy. See, she had a mouthpiece. I don't care what nobody say. She had a mouthpiece before she was saved. Boy, she had a mouthpiece because she got me. And so we started texting and stuff. And then next thing you know, man, we couldn't stay off each other. Like I fell in love, boom, engaged, married, about to have a child. So we've been together. I mean, we've been knowing each other for 8 years now. Wow. We've been together 7.5 though.
Well, let's talk about, I think we should talk about marriage rules, biblical rules. Well, because you said she's the neck and you're the head. Right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So kind of explain more into that, because I think that people kind of look down when like roles, or just like you said, she's behind the scenes and she's a helper and stuff. I said helper, you didn't say helper, but I think that there's a balance to it, and you guys feed off of each other. So how did you guys kind of? What's the question I really want to ask? I think it's, what are your guys' roles, and do you guys kind of look at it from like biblical standpoint, or how do you guys go about your marriage? Oh,
everything's biblical. Like we do not play, right? Like I said, we don't curse. That's one thing we don't curse. Like in our home, you're not cursing. If you cursing, you leaving, right? That's one of the main rules. We don't yell at each other. So if we get upset, we say, "Hey, I need some time," or whatever the case may be, right? So we never get loud unless I'm doing a motivational speech or I'm watching a game. Yeah. That's the only time we get loud, right? But yeah, so when it comes to, you know, our values and our morals and stuff like that, and my wife, she wants to be a biblical woman, right? Psalms 31.
Proverbs 31.
Proverbs, my bad. Proverbs 31. 91 or 31? 31. I knew.
Hey, you're not a woman, so
Look. I can't tell you where everything at in the Bible, but I know I done read it. Right? So
she has a characteristic.
Exactly. Proverbs 31, right? So she wants to live a life so diligently, and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's to the point where she realized that a lot of stuff that happened in our life is because we didn't have good parents. We didn't have good role models. And so right now, like, she's putting our home first, putting our unborn child first. putting our marriage first. You know, of course, everything, God, marriage, child, and whatever the heck comes after that, right? But so that's the standard that we follow. And so she allows me, and this is what I truly believe. Nobody could tell me different, right? So she went part-time a long time ago, started helping me with my business, and I'm telling you, it boomed.
Of course.
Like it boom. Of course. Like I cannot do this without her. Like she's the strategic manager. I'm telling you now, she's the strategic manager of our home. Like she doesn't play, and she helps me a lot, right? And so that's where I could go out there and execute it. But she trusts me, and she literally I remember when I was thinking about leaving my job, right? I remember I was like, look, I've been praying, God telling me to leave my job. She was like, God ain't told me nothing. Literally. And so we start praying together. And then she said, you know what? All right, I trust you. I trust you. And the reason she said I trust, she said I trust you, but it's not because of you, it's because of the God that you serve.
Stop.
And because she's seen that I kneel to God, that I put God first, the way I act, my morals, my values, and stuff like that.
Sisters
I'm
in
telling
Christ.
You. And she, mind you, my wife, she's about to graduate with her master's. She's ambitious. She's brilliant.
Yes.
She
that's like, what I'm saying.
She could be independent, bad all by herself. But why would you want to do that?
Why would you want to do that?
Is that why would you want to?
If you can have a man that's gonna lead and you can trust and be in your soft era while also being ambitious.
I remember she was talking to somebody. She was like, "Man, we live a great life. Like she doesn't have to worry about nothing. The only thing she has to worry about is breathing." Like that's really all she has to worry about. I got everything else because this woman been with me since before Kevon Lee is before Kevon Lee was Kevon Lee, because Kevon Lee was fat whatever back then, right? That's who she been with, and she went down this roller coaster. She went down this ride of people saying, "Oh, you can't be successful, you can't be no motivational speaker. Nobody's gonna pay you, all that stuff, right? How you gonna pay for insurance?" She went down that whole road and we're nowhere to where we're gonna be. Because Ephesians 3:20, God could do exceedingly abundantly beyond anything you could ever imagine, according to, I'm telling you. So I already know I see great things for us. I see great things for our family. I see how do I put this? Just like what we could do for God's kingdom, for sure. Right. But that's how we live our life, right? She respects me. She lets me lead. She lets me. We talk about decisions, but she always say, "You know what? I trust you." Is that I trust you? And I'll be having some wild decisions. I'll be like, "Look, just trust me, okay? Hey, have I ever led us wrong?" She'd be like, "No, you haven't." I'm like, "Okay, I got this." And usually it's always the right decision. And so she allows me to lead, and I think that's where and it's sad to say that a lot of women don't let men lead, and so that's where that's why they act a certain way, right? Because I'm chilling.
Come on. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like you said a couple things. Number one, she trusts me because you are submitted to God. Yeah. It's like I'm talking to my girls right now. You can't be dating men. Again, granted, you weren't fully surrendered to God. Yeah, you went through the process. But like if you were already following God, following Christ, you're in that Proverbs 31 energy, and then you're trying to be with someone that doesn't even talk to God. He doesn't even pray to God. It's like, and then you're getting mad that you can't trust him, that he's not leading and stuff. It's like you gotta pray for a man that's gonna be submitting themselves to God. And then not only that is that you also said that she don't play. It's like she don't. She also is carrying weight. It's not that she's just sitting. Yeah, like you said, she could just breathe and stuff, but she's also carrying other things that you don't even have to touch. You don't have to worry. You don't have to think about because she's got it, and then vice versa. And it's just so beautiful. And I think that's like a big thing that I've been learning is just coming out of that feminist era that I grew up in, just that culture before I was saved. Is like Miss Independent, Miss Boss, I don't need no man. Or if a man's gonna do what I want. I'm the queen. Like, yikes. Like that is completely unbiblical. And
like I said, don't get me wrong. She could be like that. Like I said, she's smart. Exactly. I feel like that's stressful.
That's so stressful.
Like why be by yourself?
It's not.
First of all, if we were supposed to be by ourselves, why did God create Eve for Adam? If we were supposed to be by ourselves, why did he do that? Yeah. He could have just left him by himself. Hey, you go out there, have dominion, conquer the world, do all. But he would have said, no, you need a helpmate. You need somebody beside you. Yeah. And he made one Eve, not seven. Come on now. Come on
He
now.
made one Eve, not 7.
Mm-hmm.
And so Adam needs Eve, Eve needs Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if we just as a culture just really embrace that again, like a family, for me, I unfortunately got in a situation, my pre really submitting to life and my life to God. And so I had a son out of wedlock, and I don't regret my son. I'll never say that. Of course not. He's my gift. But I pray for a father figure. I pray for a husband, and it's a consequence of kind of doing things out of God's order. But God can restore. God can do all the things. But man, I'm a living testimony that you don't want to do it this way, ladies. God has order, and his way is just better. Like, why do things on your own? And I, even now, like I said, I'm praying because I do want that partnership that you're talking about, that kingdom partnership where you guys are not doing it even for yourselves. You guys are doing it for the kingdom. Like you said, it's you guys are going to do great things for the kingdom. And I could already tell, like, wait, is it a daughter or son?
Daughter.
What's the name?
So we're in between names.
Oh, okay.
So
I
at
know
first,
some people are like, I don't want to say it.
No, so at first we were gonna so right now it's Hallie.
Okay.
Hallie May Lee.
Aww.
But we're thinking about changing it to my grandmother's name. So Maddie. So we haven't decided yet, but the baby gonna be here in less than 2 weeks.
That's so beautiful.
So we will see.
But you over here breaking curses, like family curses, straight up. So the drug curse.
Never touch drugs, never touch alcohol. I already know. Evidently, people in my family are addicted. Right. I have an addictive personality. I love sugar. Boy, I'm telling you, I love sugar. And so I already know if I touch it and I condone in it, I already know what's going to happen. And so I don't put myself in those predicaments.
Yeah. So your daughter already is going to be coming into a family where it's built in this with God foundation.
She gonna be like, I had a great life. I don't know what it's like to not have 2 parents in the household.
Right.
She gonna live her best. But that's
she gonna live her best life.
She gonna live her best life. But that's my job. First of all, God has trusted me with this child. Yes. So it's really his child. It is his child. He trusted me with a beautiful wife. Yes. And so I can't treat his child wrong. And I can't treat our child wrong. Yeah,
because it's his child.
Exactly, right? And so, because I don't want him to look at me and be like, hey. Going down. No, not me. Help me. No. You get what I'm saying? And so you move with a different energy when you operate like that.
Right. Go deeper into that. You move in a different way when you think like that. Like what?
So and this is how I think about a lot of things. I think a lot of people stay stagnant and they don't accomplish their dreams and their goals or the purpose God had for them is because they don't have a sense of urgency for it. I have an urgency to know that it's not just about me. My wife is counting on me. I told her, I said, no matter how bad life get, we ain't never gonna be homeless again. Right? Because we both dealt with that when we were kids. I said, no matter how hard life gets, my child would never go through foster care. So, unless we die or something. And then she gonna go to her auntie. She never going to the foster care system, right? Yeah. I never want them to, go through that. Right. And so I move with a sense of urgency. I'm talking about I work hard. I'm talking about from the time I wake up to dang near the time I go to sleep. Now I have a balance because at first I was just working. And I definitely seen that I wasn't present. Right. And so I had to switch that. We had a conversation. I was like, man, what are you talking about? And but I had to look in the mirror. I had to look in the mirror. I said, you know what? You're right. You're right. Yeah. And so
you were like at home, but you weren't home.
I'll be working. I'll be on the computer. Because as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure there ain't no, you clock in, you clock out. It's you working all the time. Yeah. You trying to make your brand better, whatever it takes, right? And so, but I move with a sense of urgency, right? Because I understand that I'm not doing it for me. I'm living God's purpose for me. And so because I'm living that purpose, I can't just be stagnant. So I move a lot differently.
So what would you tell people that kind of are in the state, because I've been there before, where they just feel like they don't even know where to start? How do they know what their vision and what their purpose and what their calling is? They're kind of just like, they believe in God, they're giving their life to God, but they're kind of just stagnant and they don't know what to do. Like some practicals would also like change their way of thinking.
That's when, I mean, you just gotta get deeper with God. If I'm being honest, you gotta get in that prayer closet.
Come on, like, get on your knees.
Come on, does it have to? I just told my wife where my prayer closet was yesterday. She was like, "Oh my gosh, like I still don't know where your prayer closet is, and we've been living here, and I'm your wife. Don't worry." And I finally told her, but just
don't worry about it.
I'm telling you, getting in that prayer closet, I read my word, getting in that prayer closet, and literally, He speaks so much to me. Like every time I read something, I'll be like, I needed that, or like I really needed that, right? It doesn't matter where I'm at in the Bible. It's like, that's for me. Yeah. And so your relationship has to go deeper, right? Yes. And I always tell people it's a partnership. Like you and God, it's a partnership. Like I said, you can have all the faith in the world, but if you ain't working, ain't nothing gonna happen. Like literally for you to have this podcast studio, I'm sure it didn't just fall in the supplies, the equipment just felt. No, you had to work. You had to do this, the necessary thing to get the necessary results. And that's why I tell everybody, you have to work for it just as much as God wants it for you. You need to work for it. And I always tell people, work hard. That's what a lot of us need to do. We need to learn how to work hard, put all our faith in Jesus.
Yes.
But at the same time, work as if it may not ever happen. You get what I'm saying? Like you have all the faith like it will happen, but work as if it will never happen.
Yeah. I just posted earlier. It's like, I was sitting here, I was like, dang, like this is reality. This is pretty crazy. And I'm like, okay, what did I do? And it's like two things. I believed God. Mm-hmm. I believed the vision that He had given me and the desire, the heart. And I committed to doing the work. And I think that people struggle with both, like either believing that it's possible, believing that they could do something, believing that they're worthy of it. And I think that the solution to that is getting deeper with God, getting to know Him more, getting to know His characteristics, how He sees you, His promises, all that. But I think majority of people struggle with the commitment part, like doing the work and doing the nitty gritty, and because it's a lot of nitty gritty.
Let me tell you something. It really is. Let me tell you something funny, right? I remember my wife, when we were just engaged or something like that, I'll tell her my dreams and my goals, and she'll just be looking at me like,
yeah.
Like, what? I'll be like, no, one day I will be a full-time motivational speaker. Like, I will be traveling.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a mentoring program. I will be in the schools. And it sounds like a lot, right? It says, especially when you ain't got nothing. It sounds
Y'all sitting in an empty room.
It sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah.
But I wrote the vision down. I made it plain. I'm telling you, Habakkuk 2:2, when I say I write all my goals, all my visions down, I make it plain. I pray about it.
It's the end goal in mind. Verse 3. Come on.
When I'm telling you, exactly. And he says, you may not see it now, but one day it will, right?
Yeah.
And so when I'm telling you that, I like your goals and your dreams, like it could happen.
Yeah.
It could really happen. Yeah. In 2019, bruh, if I was just like, I guess I could be a motivation speaker. This is something that I'm going to try to do. No, this is something I'm going to do. And that's what I did. And I see a lot of people stagnant in life because they don't go after that thing. Like, you know how hard it is to be a motivational speaker? It's not easy. You know how many phone calls I done made, how many emails I done sent where people...
I saw one of your videos and I remember thinking to myself, I don't think I could do that. Because you were sitting there in a room, a bunch of tables with a bunch of adults, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like right now, I mean, it's just you and I, and people are gonna see it, but I'm not having to see them.
Yeah.
That takes a lot. That takes a lot of things to like courage and confidence, and oh man.
I look, this is so funny. I remember during COVID, right? Every time I spoke, it was online, so I ain't had to stand in front of no people. My first time ever speaking in front of a group of people was at the sheriff department. So these are muscular men, tall. Mind you, I'm like 175 pounds that time. I'm not that tall, right? Me and you like. I'm 5'8". But anyway, though, and I'm speaking. I'm just over there like mind you, I don't even know what the heck I talked about. And I remember talking. I was like, "Was that good?" It was like, "Yeah, you did great up there." I was just like, "Bro, I almost passed out sweating." I was like, "This ain't for me." Like, God,
I'm out.
I'm out, right? But I had to get comfortable with it to the point where I've been on stage where I spoke in front of 2,000 people. And I'm talking about, I'm letting it rip up there. I think my part-time job is a comedian. So I'm very funny. I love making people laugh. And so I was just up there making people laugh. And I knew that if I took advantage of this opportunity, because this is 2,000 people from 2,000 different schools or districts all around the country, even Alaska. I knew if I took hold of that opportunity, it was gonna do great for me, right? And I didn't know if I was gonna get another opportunity like that. And I'm still getting engagements from that opportunity, and that was in 2022.
Glory to glory. It's taking that one moment and really believing like that is your moment, and then it's gonna sprout into another moment, into another moment, into another moment. That's awesome. Okay, well, is there anything? Okay, actually, yes. If you could say something to the mic, and it would go off in every radio, every TV in the United States specifically, what would you say to the American people right now? If you had one thing to say,
y'all messed up. Y'all need to know Jesus. That's what I would tell people. Like, bro,
he's coming back. Y'all need to stop tripping.
The way people, I don't know, man, but just the way people.
Hold on, I'm not gonna lie. I really thought you were gonna say something way different, like something really, really deep. So that was perfect, though.
Look, I'm serious because, bruh, oh my goodness. You know what? I hope you change. Keep doing what you're doing. But okay. But that's my serious answer. But I'm gonna say something else. I'm gonna say something else. Your dreams and your goals aren't other people's dreams and goals. Meaning that there's gonna be a lot of people that's when you say, you know what, I want to accomplish this, they're gonna say, no, you can't. There's no way you could do that. Nobody before you has ever done that. What makes you so special?
Yeah.
But it's not their dream to dream in the first place.
Yeah.
So go after your dream and your goals and see what God could do.
Yeah.
Just be like, God,
just play with it.
You know, just play with it. Like, God, I want to be a motivational speaker. You know, put me in a room, and He finally put me in a room with 2,000 people. Come on now.
Come on.
I've been on stage with the top 2 motivational speakers in the world. They gave me an award before. Like, got their numbers. Been on the phone with them. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
He will put you in the room. And what's so great about that is that your name is already in rooms that you don't even know. Seriously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever dream and goal you got, man, go after that thing. Like, because think about it like this. If you don't go after it, you'll never know. Right? And so you could go down 10 years to be like, man, I wish when I was in my 20s or 30s, I wish I would have tried that. Now it's too late for me.
Yeah.
You might as well try it now. And if you fail, you failed. At least you tried. So,
yeah, playing with the idea. You're like what they say. It's like, yeah, like what if it ever happens? But what if it does?
Is that what if
it does?
Like Aristotle said, those who say can't and can are usually both right. So if you say you can do something, it most likely will happen. If you say you can't, there's no way in any dimension that it will happen. If you truly believe it cannot happen, I truly believe I will be on stage. I truly believe I'll be crossing the country. I truly believe that people will be calling me, booking me to the point where I have to cancel. Or not cancel. I have to like tell people like, no, I don't have the time. I recommend people. I truly believe that. I'm talking about, I seen it before it was even here.
Yeah.
I literally see myself on stage. I see myself sign the autograph. That's so funny. Because little kids, they be coming up to me and be like, mister, can you sign my arm? I'll be like, look. I like, it's funny because we was at a conference and I signed a kid's jersey, right? My cousin was like, man, if I was his mama, I'd be so mad that you signed a Kevin Durant jersey. with a Sharpie too. He was like, please, man. I was like, I don't know if I should. He was like, please. I was like, okay.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. You know, change. I mean, that's what we're here to serve
those
others.
moments, I'm sure they're so sweet, and just you hold on to them. Huh?
It's amazing, right? I've had people come up to me to this day. I got people DMing me. I got people. I be walking the streets like, oh my gosh, I heard you speak before. I remember I was in Atlanta and this woman said she heard me speak in San Diego.
That's
in Atlanta.
That's you get what I'm saying? You made it.
And, and it's so just
cool.
Knowing that you changing life. People coming up to me. Impact.
Like you impacted it so much that it's in their memory.
Exactly.
Because we hear things all the time but we forget about it. But if it impacted us, if it did something to our hearts and mind, we're going to remember.
They always say it doesn't matter what you say, it's how you make people feel. The fact that people literally come up to me bawling, and mind you, I could do a whole speech, right? And I'm talking about it's fire. I'm talking about it's like, you get me? And I don't say nothing about Jesus. People will come up to me and be like, are you a believer? Because God, He's in me. And when He gave me this gift I used to get in trouble for speaking. I used to get whoopings. I used to get suspended. I used to have ISS, in school suspension. I used to be, man, you annoying. I'm telling you, because I talked so much and people tried to hide my gift, but I didn't listen to those people.
Yeah. That was the devil trying to hide that.
That was the devil.
Scared. He was like, yeah.
And look, I want to tell people this. This is my podcast now. Nah,
Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
Look, I know, right? This is the amazing thing that I want people to understand, that the devil, the enemy, he cannot bless anything. He cannot create or destroy anything. Only we can allow him to do that.
Yeah.
Right? The devil can't tempt me with nothing.
Yeah.
If I'm tempted by something, it's because it's already in me. If I'm tempted by pornography, it's because it's already in me. The devil didn't do that. Oh my gosh, she sent this beautiful woman. I had to go back. No, it's because that thing is still, that demon, that enemy is still in you. And are you going to conquer it?
Yeah.
And
because Jesus already did.
Come on now.
He already. I mean, literally, over 2,000 years ago today, he went to the cross. Come on. Okay, go ahead. Man, sorry.
He better than me. I would have said, forget y'all. I'm telling you, and that's why I'm not Jesus, right?
Dude, man, like he really did that, knowing that we would just be like laughing and mocking him, and
to this day, but yeah, exactly, right. And then another thing, Jesus would never tempt you. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
He would test you. He would never tempt you.
And you will never be tempted in more than you can handle. He will always give you a way out.
Always, right? Because I mean, he gives us free will. That's a great thing about like our Jesus. He gives us free will, but are you going to choose the will of him?
Yeah. So good. Last thing is, if you could speak into that camera and speak over someone that was maybe a you in 2018 the person that was going to kill himself, because there's someone out there that may come across this video. So just speak life into them, what you would have wanted to hear when you were in that situation.
Definitely. So before I was even born, this woman came to my mother. Mind you, my mother, she's on drugs, she's running the streets, and she said, I don't know who you are, but you're pregnant and your baby's name is gonna be known all over the world. And what's so crazy about that, my mother is 35. She didn't know she was pregnant. She went to the doctor. She was 6 months pregnant. And they said I was supposed to be born with Down syndrome. I was born a healthy child 3 months later. And when I was about to commit suicide, I heard God said, son, your name is going to be known all over the world. It wasn't because you're going to be a drug addict. It wasn't because of any of those things. It's because you have a purpose, right? And so when we think about committing suicide, I need you to understand that you have a purpose, that there's somebody out there, them thousands of kids that I have spoken to that said, Kevon, because I heard your story, I don't want to commit suicide no more. I know I have a purpose. I know I have a will for God. I know those things. And yours may not be on a global stand, and that's okay. But there's somebody out there that needs you to be you, that needs you to fight past that enemy inside of you and go towards God. Because if you're here, it's a miracle you're here in the first place. So if you are here, I could promise you this, I could guarantee it, that you have a purpose.
That's it. That's all.
Come on now. We're good.
We're good. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. Woo! That was good.
That was fun.
That was so much fun.